Does Black Ops 6 Zombies have aura? A lot of people were having this discussion before the game came out because they were saying it doesn't have it. They were saying the game looks bland, it looks soulless. And now that BO6 has been out for quite a while, I wanted to talk about, does the actual mode have it? And before we get into that, let's explain what aura means to the Call of Duty Zombies experience. It's not a word I personally use at all, so I thought it would make sense to actually explain what I kind of interpret it as. There's a couple different things. So first of all, a big part of it is the visuals of the Zombies mode itself. How does the game look, the color palette, the design of the bosses or the location? That is a big part of it. The visuals are probably like 50% of it. Then there's also the music, you know, the underscore music, the round change music, the event music throughout different Easter egg steps, the main Easter egg song, like how much personality does the music bring to the overall experience? And both of these things obviously are under the realm of atmosphere and personality, which is the words I usually use as opposed to the word aura, but because everyone else uses it, I thought it makes sense to use it as well. I would say the story plays a pretty big role in it as well. How much is the story actually an important part of the map itself? How immersive is the story? How good are the character quotes, which was definitely a problem with Black Ops Cold War, but we're going to talk about how that is in Black Ops 6. And lastly, just overall map uniqueness. How much personality do each individual maps have as a whole? Do they feel like they were made with passion and care? All those things revolve around this umbrella of the word aura that a lot of people were talking about before the game came out. So does the game have it? Let's get into it. So I thought it makes sense to go map by map. So let's start off talking about Liberty Falls, which is the map that most people were worried about when it comes to atmosphere. Most people were not that worried about Terminus. The conversation was mainly around this map looking kind of soulless. Now, when it comes to the map itself, now that we've played it for quite a while now, I honestly don't think it's nearly as bad as we were expecting. We were expecting it to feel like it was pretty much just a multiplayer map, but I really don't feel that way when playing Liberty Falls. My only main issue with the map's atmosphere is that the visuals are a bit bland at the exterior areas. Now, when you go into the interiors, like the church, which obviously is in the dark ether, so of course it's gonna look gorgeous, the comic shop, the bowling alley, all these locations look pretty incredible. They fit the 90s aesthetic quite well. But when you're outside, there's something about the look that just doesn't feel right to me. It just feels so gray and kind of gross looking in a weird way. And I feel like they could have fixed that with just some saturation boosts, or perhaps setting the map during like, not nighttime, but maybe at like the sunset, which I mean, any map set during a sunset's always gonna look pretty decent. Or you could have just changed the time of year. I mean, I don't think we needed to have Terminus and Liberty Falls take place in February. They could have made them take place in the fall time. And Liberty Falls, which obviously is based on Harper's Ferry in West Virginia, it looks gorgeous in the fall time. If you ever looked up pictures of it, it looks absolutely amazing. And what I always thought they could have done is if it took place around Halloween, they could have also added a Halloween vibe to the map with like Halloween decorations around the map. And I think you could have just done so much with the atmosphere and personality in the exterior areas if you just changed the time of year. It would have been that simple, to be honest. But as it is currently, I don't love the look of it. I'm never looking around the map going like, oh my God, this looks amazing. I just don't really feel that way. It doesn't feel that way like I do playing a lot of Black Ops 3 maps and a lot of Black Ops 4 maps. But what saves this map for me is the music. There is a lot of great music on the map that fits the 90s aesthetic perfectly. Now, don't get me wrong, it's not perfect. This does not reach the levels of Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 4 when it comes to how much amazing music is constantly playing throughout the map. But the music that does play, specifically during certain Easter egg steps, is pretty incredible. The game over music is pretty incredible. The round change music is pretty incredible. All of it fits the 90s aesthetic so well. There's even that one Radio Shack store that when you go inside of it, there's always music playing in it, which I think was really cool. I kind of wish they found a way to do that throughout the whole map rather than just that one store. But overall, that does add a lot of personality to the map. When it comes to the story, however, I do think Liberty Falls is lacking just a little bit. Obviously, not having a main crew is a big part of that. I understand what they were going for. They wanted to give us a map with no main crew because obviously this map is meant to be more of a casual grind map where you just jump in to kill zombies and that's about it. But there is an actual story to the map. It just feels very lacking compared to a map like Terminus because you don't have that main crew. I also think the Easter egg itself doesn't have a lot of story elements, and my biggest issue is that it doesn't really relate that much to the cutscene that we originally had with Richtofen and the mansion and the lab. You don't get to see any of that in the map itself, and I do feel like that kind of brings down the actual story elements of this map just a little bit. There were some intriguing elements, however. I do like the whole idea of the Panos character, like extracting the essence from the operators and basically becoming, a regular form, because he was this dark ether entity previously, and now he's actually like an actual person. He's able to go out of the dark ether by doing this. That's an interesting story element they introduced here, but other than that, I just don't really see a lot to this map that, in my opinion, I don't really find that interesting. And lastly, in terms of unique map elements to Liberty Falls, obviously there's a couple things, the usual stuff like the wonder weapon, which is the jet gun. It's obviously not completely original because it is based on the jet gun from Transit, but obviously this is a much better version of it and it operates a bit differently, so I'll still consider it a unique element. And then you have stuff like the Etherella side quest where you get to play as that supervillain action figure. There's obviously the bowling side quest, which is really, really cool. And then in terms of boss zombies, you have the Abomination, which it's not a unique boss zombie to this map because we saw it in Cold War and I guess technically in Modern Warfare Zombies, but for Black Ops 6 itself, it is obviously the only map where you see the Abomination. So that's pretty much it though. There really aren't that many other map unique elements, features, mechanics. It is definitely pretty meh when it comes to that. So overall, I feel like Liberty Falls is definitely better in terms of its atmosphere than I was originally expecting, but I still don't think it's that great. I think it definitely is lacking in a lot of areas, and I wouldn't consider this one of the best maps when it comes to atmosphere, aura, personality, whatever word you want to use. Now, when we get to Terminus, it's a very different situation. Terminus does have incredible visuals all around. I think every part of this map looks incredible, whether it's the outdoors, the interiors, or the islands, the laboratories. Every single area has a great color palette. It's got this like bluish tint to it with a lot of greens as well, and it just looks absolutely amazing. It reminds me a lot of Zetsubou no Shima, and they did a great job of capturing that feel. Just like with Liberty Falls, when it comes to music, I think this map does a pretty good job. I don't think it reaches the levels of BO3 or BO4 when it comes to the amount of music and how well it's implemented into the map, but there is still a lot of great pieces of music, whether it's through the Easter egg or just the round change music or whatever it may be. There is a lot of solid music to this map that fits the theme, the aesthetic, pretty much perfectly, especially the boss fight music. I love the boss fight music on this map. And when it comes to story, I genuinely think Terminus is one of the best zombies maps we've had in ages when it comes to the storyline. Definitely since Black Ops 4. There is a lot of good lore to this map, a lot of building to the Dark Ether story, to the point where I wasn't really that interested in the Dark Ether story before this game, but now I am. The fact that they are bringing in the Chaos story with the end cutscene, of course, teasing, or not really just teasing, it was blatantly just mentioning the Sentinel artifact that's going to most likely appear in the next map, as well as Prima Materia, which is all from the Chaos story. And even just other than that, there's just a lot of great character quotes with the main crew here. Obviously, this is the first map we've had with a main crew since Black Ops 4. That adds a lot to the atmosphere and the immersion in the map's story. And even just with the Easter egg itself, there are so many incredible story moments. Halfway through the Easter egg, you legit get a cutscene where Maya has to kill her own brother Nathan after fighting him in that boss fight. Like, that is some great story stuff that genuinely makes Maya an interesting character, even though she was just introduced. So stuff like that is fantastic on Terminus. They've been doing a great job with that, and I think it is definitely way better than Liberty Falls in that regard. And lastly, in terms of map uniqueness, I think Terminus is definitely better than Liberty Falls in that regard. Obviously, you have the Beam Smasher Wonder Weapon, which I think the Jet Gun is a better Wonder Weapon, but I for some reason enjoy using the Beam Smasher more. I don't really know why that is, but I just think it's more fun to use. The Cursed Talisman side quest, which gives you unlimited double points at the cost of losing points when you are hit. You also have the Whack-A-Mole Easter egg with the crabs, which gives you free loot. You have the boat racing Easter egg, which is really cool, or just boat riding in general is just really fun on this map, going to each of the islands with the boat. You have the Amalgamation Zombie and the Parasites, which are unique to this map when it comes to Black Ops 6. Obviously, obviously the parasites we saw back in Black Ops 3, but in this game itself, they are only on this map. I think there's a glitch where they appear on Liberty Falls, but that's obviously not intentional. There's also the mega stuffy side quest, and the boss fight against the Kraken, of course, Parasite 13, is one of the best boss fights in Zombies history, and definitely adds a lot to the personality of this map. And now that we're done talking about specifics from Liberty Falls and Terminus, I wanted to talk about things that just affect Black Ops 6 Zombies as a whole, and in regards to the personality or the soul that the game has. One of my main concerns before the game was a lot of the Warzone-esque mechanics, like the armor system, loadout system, rarity, and all of those features. And I do think those features hold the game back just a little bit when it comes to its personality, because yes, these are mechanics that are just kind of brought over from other modes and thrown into here, and they don't feel like they mesh as well as they could. There definitely could be a more zombified spin on it. You also have stuff like the score streaks and different pieces of equipment where most of them are not zombified. Obviously, there are some zombified ones like the Mangler injection or the Casimir or monkey bombs, but a lot of the other ones don't have that zombie spin on them, and they're kind of just put onto the map, which is okay. I don't have a big issue with that, but I do feel like this game doesn't go far enough with it. There is definitely much more than what we had in Black Ops Cold War. I think it does a much better job at it, but I don't think it's quite there yet. I think things like the armor system definitely could have used a bit of a change, maybe even just simply making it, instead of it being just armor plates, make it like ether shields or something that just has that more zombified spin on it. I think that would have added a lot to the atmosphere of this game. Obviously, the HUD was a big concern for me as well before launch. I do think with the HUD settings, there are ways to make the HUD look pretty decent. It's not perfect. I don't think it's one of the best HUDs we've ever seen, but it's definitely good enough to the point where it doesn't have a big negative effect on the game mode. I don't think it necessarily adds a lot to the atmosphere or personality because I don't think the HUD is that amazing, but I definitely don't think it takes away much from it anymore, at least with the current HUD settings that we have. Even something as small as the character icon that was added to the HUD was such a great addition. That was obviously something that we had for most Zombies games from Black Ops 3 all the way up to Black Ops 4, and getting to see that again in this game is great. I think it adds so much to the game. It's just a small thing, but I love it. So all in all, I do think Black Ops 6 does a pretty good job when it comes to its atmosphere and personality, but my only issue is I don't think it reaches the heights of games like Black Ops 3 and Black Ops 4, or even Infinite Warfare for that matter. I just don't think we're quite there yet, and I really hope they get to that point throughout the DLC season, but we'll just have to wait and see. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. What do you think about the aura or the atmosphere, personality, whatever word you want to use, of Black Ops 6 Zombies? Do you think they did a good job, or do you think it is still lacking in a lot of areas? Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. I will see you all in my next one. Peace out.